5, 4, 3, 2, go.
Oh, we're on. Sorry, distracted. Angelina Jolie. Who's better? It's another edition of It's a Sports Show. I've just been told, because we haven't said this in a while, we used to, with the top 50 shows, we'd say Sports Show number 38, Sports Show number 39. Dude, we're up to number 132. Can you believe it?
This is 132?
132?
Dude!
Oh, dude.
And this is our
Angelina Jolie
Hollywood
edition.
Access edition of It's a Sports Show. Is she one of your favorites? She's one of my favorites.
Acting too much like Jeff Starr now. Yeah, she's right along with, who's that girl that did Angel? Not Angel. What the heck was I don't know. She's hot. I'm speechless. Speechless.
She is very pretty, I'll tell you. In Tomb Raider, she was it.
If you could be any actor in the world, who would it be?
If I could be, well, I know that's a softball, and you want me to say Brad Pitt.
Oh, hell yeah!
But I would want to be the man Al Pacino.
Oh, come on.
Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah, we won't go that way.
Angelina Jolie, she's beautiful, but she's out there. I mean,
it makes her that much more beautiful.
Where they have the baby in Zimbabwe, Cumbia.
Yeah, they show
Zambia.
a picture of the hospital, right? The Looks
like a garage.
Lucia Hospital. Okay, the sign. This thing looks like some kind of clay resort, for crying out loud. It doesn't even look like a hospital.
You know what's interesting though? They actually have been successful in a country like that in keeping out press.
Yeah.
You know, in those countries they can do it because there's no freedom of speech.
It's all about the privacy.
And writing, they don't have the right to go up with helicopters and take pictures and all that.
Right.
I read that same article, and they are going to sell the first picture for $5.4 million.
Of the baby?
They're going to give the picture of the baby, sell it, and give it to check. $5.4 million for a picture of the baby. We're in the wrong business.
That's crazy.
I mean, here we are.
Well, I just found out.
We're making a million apiece on It's a Sports Show, and we can take a picture and make $5.4 million.
It's funny you say that about celebrities and how much money they make. Who's the Trump girl there? What's her name? No, maybe not Trump, but the little heiress to the hotels.
Paris Hilton.
Paris Hilton, okay.
From It's a Simple Life.
Made an appearance over the weekend. She didn't have to say a word. She just had to show up. $1.5 million. $1.5 million. She probably went for 3 hours. I wish these people would if they can make that kind of money, God bless them, but they're already making enough dough from the hard work that they do. I'd like to see her make $1.5 million and then go put it towards something. You know what I mean? It's kind of ridiculous.
Thank you, E-News Daily.
Yeah, that's about the most entertainment you'll get out of us. Oh, I'm sorry. By the way, I'm Scott Cray. This is Dolphin Paul. You're on It's a Sports Show. Thanks for tuning in. Hey.
I think everybody tuned out by now.
Speaking of tuning out, okay, this brings me to Barry Bonds. Dave and I, we used to go back and forth on this because he loved Barry Bonds. Not the case anymore. He's kind of flipped, but I never liked the guy, and I have 10,000 more reasons to hate him now. He passes the babe. Our old friend Byung Kim gives up the pitch that does it. How fitting is that? And no one other than fans of San Francisco really care, from what I gather. Am I wrong? Am I right? Do you care, for that matter?
Well, you're right. There isn't a big amount of hoopla because it's kind of unfortunate because it's such an unbelievable milestone. I won't say
probably
record,
the highest second-place milestone in world history.
715 home runs is an unbelievable milestone.
Right.
By the way, I was listening to sports radio on the way in, and Dave Fleming had the call for San Francisco. His mic cut out.
Here's
so
what
they
happened.
missed the radio call. There's only one guy who has it, which is
Here's the thing, for those who aren't familiar with this entire process, okay, you obviously have the TV call and the radio call. They're separate, different people, but when it comes to highlight time, they like to run the video but air the radio play-by-play because it's a lot more descriptive. Duh, it's radio, they have to be. What happened was I was on my way to a wedding, okay, during this.
Not yours.
Not mine. Been there, done that. ESPN cut to the Giants broadcast, so I actually heard live the cutout. It's a shout out to center field, gone. And I thought it was a joke, like.
Oh, really?
Maybe
I didn't even realize that's what happened.
It literally cut in the middle of the call. The ball hadn't even he got super excited, so you knew it was gone. The ESPN people kicked in, back to their broadcast, and said, we're sorry about that. We're not sure what happened. We're watching the home run.
That's incredible.
Blah, blah, blah.
What are the chances of that happening?
That never happens. It does happen. You got to wonder if
Probably
something.
very rarely.
Are we talking like the curse of the babe here or what?
How fitting. How
That was
fitting
weird.
for Barry Bonds, but
Imagine that guy. It's probably his big call in his career.
he's probably been practicing this in the mirror.
No.
And Barry Bonds breaks Babe and Barry Bonds all of a sudden, and Barry
in front of a mirror and he's on radio. He's not even being
man,
seen.
That is certainly unfortunate.
Unbelievable. But it just seems like, Bud Selig, the commissioner, on his way out of his reign as Major League Baseball commish, had determined well ahead of time that Major League Baseball was not going to celebrate this because his reasoning was because it's a second place record, and since when do we, hold second place records to be such a near and dear thing?
This is, let's face it, this is a nightmare for baseball. An absolute nightmare because here they are, which ordinarily would be a tremendous milestone, a tremendous occasion, a
And it
lift
turns out
for
to be
Major League
nothing.
Baseball.
Yeah.
And this is something they'd rather lift this up and go whoop
Yep.
because of all the Barry Bonds accusations. Listen, I don't like Barry Bonds like everybody else. I mean, his personality's been well documented. His attitude towards media, fans. I mean, we could beat this thing, we could beat this dead horse to no end.
Right.
But, I was thinking about this, and, steroids or not, it's a pretty amazing feat. 715 home runs, you know what?
Even on the juice.
Even on the juice, the guy still, he hits bombs.
Right.
He's still got a tremendous swing.
Right.
He's still going to be considered one of the most terrific baseball players of all time.
Now think of it
There's
this
going
way.
to be a lot of people who don't like him, who say he's on the juice, I don't want to hear about it.
Right.
It's,
Along those lines, I heard this is not my original thought here. I heard this on the radio, and it was put in a very. It made sense the way that this was put. Okay, you say Bonds is on the juice, give him an asterisk, put him aside. Now you take everybody else you think is on the juice, put them aside, and we know who they are, and there's plenty that we don't know. Take everybody in that column. Barry Bonds is still by far the best.
the best of the juices.
The best of the juicers. So if you say he's not playing on a level playing field as players who aren't on the juice, put him on the same field as those who are, and he still blows them away. His longevity has something to do with it. And believe me, I'm not sticking up for Barry Bonds. But the point is, like you said, as an athlete, and yes, he is still an athlete, even though he's on the juice, he's still top notch.
It's a hard call.
It's amazing.
It's a hard call. I know, look, I look at this whole steroid era, I guess, 90s till now, 95 till now, the Bonds Sosa race, with with one eye, a suspicious eye,
McGuire.
a tainted eye,
Yeah.
tainted records, McGuire, Sosa, and so forth. But, I look at this more, how should I put this? I look at this more agreeably, if you will, than a single season home run record.
Right.
Because it's a lifetime
It's a longevity
achievement. Right.
thing.
It's not just one season.
But
of
him
the
being
juice.
on the
He
juice
hit
is what's
72.
allowed him to have that
Yeah,
longevity.
but still, 715 home runs, I don't care what you're on. That's pretty impressive. Yeah,
Now-
it's probably tainted, but
Moving forward, how many more does he need? 40-something. Okay, in the 40s. You could tell we're not paying attention to Bonds.
that's the big question, is when he passes Hank Aaron, how
Right.
are we really going to look on it?
Now, if he decides that he wants to go for that record, okay, and it will be completely up to him, his contract's up at the end of this year. He's got to play for an American League team because he needs to DH. It's the only way he's going to make it through. What American League team needs/wants him? We saw what happened when Baltimore signed the big contract with Sammy Sosa, and that turned out to be a nightmare. Now the guy's not even doing anything, but there's the question. The Yankees, a team that wants to throw money left and right for anything they can get, would they throw money at a Barry Bonds who pretty much isn't going to do anything and is in his own little world in the dugout away from the rest of the team?
Well, the problem is, I don't know if a team, at least if I were a team, I don't know if I'd want that much publicity. You bring him in for 1 year. First of all, you got the, Barry Bonds obviously leaving San Francisco. Then you got the home run chase. If you want that type of attention, maybe Steinbrenner does.
Yankees are successful in making their own attention without a specific player.
Well, but this is even more.
Right.
I mean, the
That's what I mean. They might
the
not
Yankees
want.
don't need Barry Bonds to get over the hump. They got enough talented players where they should at least compete for World Series.
Right.
Even the same with the Red Sox. I mean, should a Detroit, a Toronto, a team like that bring Barry Bonds on? I mean, think of the media attention for next year.
Yeah.
In a new city, he's loved in San Francisco. Now, all these fans who dislike
That's a
him
good
now,
point.
he could be possibly on your team. What do you? I mean.
If Barry Bonds threw on, it's a great point you make. If Barry Bonds gets blown out of the water and shows up in a Red Sox uniform, how would you feel about him?
That's exactly.
If you're at Fenway Park and he shows up in that batter's square, do you boo
That's
him?
exactly a good point, and that's a tough call.
Now, how about this? Another scenario for you. People in San Fran regularly, through email, internet, radio, TV, are always bashing baseball people for bashing Barry Bonds. Leave our guy alone, he's loved here. Well, what happens if you find out, and believe me, this is not an accusation, don't take this the wrong way. What happens if you find out Big Papi or Manny is on the juice? And no one in Red Sox Nation thinks that because they don't have the build, okay? But if you take away from that frame of a human being and say they're big, maybe not cut, but they're big, and they could certainly mash the ball, and we don't believe they're on the juice, but let's say you find out tomorrow, okay, he gets suspended for 15 days. Either one, Big Papi will say, because he's, I think, even more loved than Manny. If you find out Big Papi's on the juice, what do? Because the San Francisco people are saying, stop bashing Barry Bonds, he's the man. Would you feel the same way about Big Papi if he got caught taking steroids?
Well, the difference between Big Papi and Barry Bonds is obviously his attitude. I mean, that's the biggest thing.
So we hating Barry Bonds more for his attitude than the fact that he's a cheater?
I think people in general, I do. I
so
believe
we
that.
forgive Mr. Giambi then at this point because he's got a completely different attitude, but still
the
the same
difference
juice.
was Giambi. They came on and said, "Hey, I made a mistake. I was on the juice."
Well, he never said he was on the juice. He couldn't.
Oh, I think he did.
I don't think he could
Yeah,
because
but
it was the grand jury
I think
thing.
that was implied, though.
It definitely was implied. But he never actually
Giambi
said
said I made a mistake, and he came
Right.
out. So I think that's a big difference. And Barry Bonds is just, towards the media and fans and everything. Obviously we don't know him, but he's known as a jerk.
Right.
I mean, I think that's one of the main problems why he's the poster boy for steroids.
So it's kind of exaggerated.
I mean, of course, if Big Papi was on the juice, we'd all be devastated.
Right. Devastated's one thing, but would you still? I mean, basically that's what these San Francisco fans are saying is stop booing our man. We're going to stick by him because he's a San Franciscan. And so if Big Papi got caught, he'd be booed left and right all over. He'd go to Yankee Stadium and get booed twice as much as he does
Well, that's a big
now.
hypothetical. Plus, we had the book that came out. We talked a while back. I mean, there's a lot of evidence. I mean, this is not just one instance or one incident. This is a prolonged career that we know a lot about Barry Bonds and how he came up skinny and how he was jealous of McGwire and Sousa. So this is just, I think now it's interesting. I think it's going to be unbelievable if he decides to come back and pass Hank Aaron. I mean, Major League Baseball is going to have some type of celebration.
They'd be forced
And
to.
boy,
Right now, they're probably
They
hoping.
are probably praying the guy retires. I could just see the powers in baseball saying,
Major
Lord,
League message
do
to
not let
Barry
this
Bonds.
happen.
You ready? I'm waiting for this camera. Message to Barry Bonds. Here it goes. The fans across the world and all of Major League Baseball want to see you sprayed like a little weed and just wilt away and be gone. How do you like that? Dramatic.
Sprayed like a little weed and be gone. That's threatening.
Just be gone. Anyway, so
We'll obviously
here's the solace
keep track of that.
for those of you who hate Barry Bonds, and there are thousands of you. Here's what'll make you feel good. Because if he stays in San Fran, okay, or if he leaves San Fran and goes to an American League team that signs him, it's not going to be an American League team that's running for a pennant because they won't need him, okay? You could find solace in the idea that Barry Bonds will not ever wear a World Series ring. And that's...
Well, I think he stays in San Fran at a reduced rate.
I agree.
That's my
because
prediction.
he's just going to find too much friction elsewhere.
Absolutely.
Any team.
And San Francisco would get the attention it otherwise never gets.
Right. Well, that's what they got now. They built that whole damn park around him, basically. Okay, let's move on from Barry Bonds talk a little. We're going to move to a little bit of the Cleveland Indians, if you will. A name that's been, fairly known throughout Major League Baseball. Scott Sauerbeck. Get a load of this. This is good stuff. This is back to celebrity news. Okay? Sauerbeck, 34, was the passenger in his own car when he got pulled over for weaving through traffic. The vehicle pulled into a driveway, and he and the driver got out, walked into the backyard, and jumped the fence, and a police chase ensued. He was found finally hiding in the bushes. Scott Sauerbeck, who is making, I'm trying to see if it says how much money he's making. It's got to be millions if he's a baseball player.
Yep.
Hiding in the bushes. And he came out on a $120 bond. You think he afforded that okay? This is out in Ohio. Okay, because it was all, the driver was facing DUI charges and all that, so he decided to take off and run. Why do celebrities and athletes do stupid things? I'm asking one, so.
Well, I am an athlete. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, I was thinking you were a celebrity that does stupid things.
Chill.
You're pretty buff. This is a Major League Baseball player. He actively plays for the Cleveland Indians.
I just think baseball players and celebrities are no different than us regular folk besides what they do and how much they earn. And I think they get caught in situations where they just don't know how to react.
Oh, come on. Can't your status kind of throw you personally in a
Yeah, but your status is not going to make you any smarter. Your status is not going to make you have any more common sense.
Sure it can.
No, I think the baseball league community is just like our community. There's smart people, there's intelligent people, there's common sense people.
They should be able to say.
There's dumb people. He's one of the dumb ones.
They should be able to say that because of my status, I do not want to get caught doing something stupid. Let this girl take off. It probably would have never even made the papers at this point. Maximum penalty, 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. How would you like to be the judge to give him the good 6 months in the slammer?
They'll find some type of community service for him.
It's not as bad as like a Sidney Ponson who, for crying out loud, has been in trouble pretty much, every day of his life that he's been a Major League Baseball player. It seems ridiculous to me that somebody would actually have to hide in the bushes from the police when he really technically didn't do anything wrong.
Like I said, he's not one of the brightest ones.
Scott Sauerbeck,
He's probably 6'3". He's probably hiding in a 2-foot bush.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Hey, he's 0-1 with a 4.2 ERA, so he stinks anyway. All right, what people have been waiting for is to hear about the Boston Red Sox. They are now, as of the time of this shooting, which is Tuesday, they are 1 game above the New York Yankees, and then we'll get into Toronto a little bit. They're 2.5 down. They've actually slipped a little, and they have several good reasons why. Baltimore and Tampa Bay, of course, just kind of a running joke. It's funny, I look at Tampa Bay, I see they're 10 games behind, yet I don't know if it's only when Boston plays them, but they don't seem or feel like a team that should be 10 games behind. They actually have a decent lineup. Their pitching kind of sucks, but outside of that,
Well, they play hard, but, they're 21-30.
They're still young.
They're in a tougher division. So, they're still the doormat, if you will, of that division, even though they've improved.
We took a couple weeks off, so we missed the boat here, but I'm going to bring it up again. Boston losing 2 of 3 to the Yankees with a depleted Yankees lineup is a completely uncalled for. You cannot,
that was
I know
a bad
the Yankees
series
could
to lose
still
at
mash
home.
the
I would
ball.
agree with you. Matt Clement right now coming off last night is pitching terrible. Here's, I looked at a few stats. Here's where you need to look at the Red Sox. I know I joke around with it's a long season, but, it's only maybe a quarter of the season. You really can't judge yet. They're 30-19 as we stand today. That's 11 games over 500, which is pretty good. But if you look inside of the numbers, they've gone 15-4 against the Devil Rays and Orioles, which is the 2 bottom teams in their division.
Which at one point Baltimore used to have the best of Boston, but now that Baltimore sucks enough, what I mean? Thank God for that.
And against the better teams, their record is 15-14. So the question is,
so they're having trouble competing with good teams.
How good are the Red Sox? Kurt Schilling and Josh Beckett are 15-3 with a 3.87 ERA, which is damn good.
Yes.
But the other starters have gone 9-13 with a 5.6 ERA.
Beyond that 1-2 punch, you've got nothing.
The question is, how good are these Red Sox? And now they're going on a 10-game road trip against Toronto and Detroit, who's surprisingly one of the better teams in the AL. Right now sitting at 35-16, the best team in the AL right now.
Right.
So I think the next 10 games, I know it's early in the year, are going to tell a lot about these Red Sox.
What happens
They lost
is-
the first game against Toronto already with Clement,
Right.
who's
And Detroit
a head
lost.
case.
Detroit lost to the Yankees. There's some good baseball going on. Red Sox and Toronto, and then also the Yankees, Detroit, and then Chicago. I forgot who the White Sox are playing. They come around and play, I think, the Tigers actually shortly. So a lot of good baseball right now. But you kind of want to go into this All-Star break with some firepower because you know the Yankees are going to make a move. They're just hurting way too much. Toronto, for that matter, even might start making some moves.
And it's kind of flipped a little bit. You know, the last time we talked a few weeks ago, we were talking about the Red Sox pitching being real solid.
Right.
And them needing to get more timely hits. But, you know, I mean, a lot of guys, you know, a guy we talked about, Euclid, is playing some solid baseball.
He sure is.
He's batting
completely-
320. I never thought he'd be more than a utility guy.
Right.
A Graffinino type of guy who would
And
come
even
in.
I wasn't very impressed with him being in the leadoff spot because I didn't think his OBP was good enough. But with a 435 OBP now, I mean that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean he's
you almost wonder what you do with Crisp now that he's back from the DL. Do you take Euclid out of his role that he's been
you've
doing
got to
so
put
good
Chris
with?
back in the top spot, but you can put the Euclid in the 5 or 6 hole. I mean, you got the guy. Hey, listen, got to give you credit. The guy I made fun of, and you loved at the beginning of the year.
He still
Mike
needs-
Lowell.
yeah.
He's batting 324.
Right.
Loretta's
He's a doubles machine.
Loretta's getting some hits. Manny is starting to really warm
Finally.
up.
Look at Lowell's got 22 doubles. The next highest is Euclid with 13, and then Loretta with 12.
Yeah, he's an extra base machine. You know, Ortiz has been, you know, a little off from his usual self, but he's playing pretty solid. I mean, I think now what you got to worry about is the pitching. Wells came back and was pitching a terrific game against Tampa, got whacked in his surgically repaired knee.
Right, now
and
it's
now
good.
even though it's not, you know, a long-term injury.
He's got a deep bruise, and he couldn't
least
even
not
get
for
out of
now.
his warm-up session.
Well, he got hit. I mean, he's 42 years old. And
Yeah, that's going to hurt anyway, the
You know,
fact that
I'm
he
getting
just
up
had
there in age.
surgery.
The bones are starting to give out a little bit. He got whacked directly
on.
in the knee. And, you know, me and him have almost the same physique.
I wouldn't, you know, put yourself down that much.
But they're hurting at the bottom end of the rotation, which most teams are.
Right.
But the Red Sox should be in financial position to not be as bad as they are at the end of their rotation. I mean, excuse me, you know, Wakefield's on and off. He needs run production. You know, Wells, they can't get him back.
Right.
Clement, man.
I don't know what's going on with him. Well, it's like you
in
said.
his head. I mean, you watch him and his facial expressions. It frustrates you as a viewer.
Right.
You can tell his head's not screwed on straight.
Right.
So, I mean, they're bringing these guys in. Cianez, he's my Alan Embry. The guy stinks. I don't know why he's out there.
Yeah.
They should only give him a few more spots. They get rid of him. No, don't send him anywhere. Get rid of him.
Just-
He's not doing anything. They need to bring up some young kids and they need to
Cut
find a way
ties.
to solidify that pitching staff.
Well, we talked about Josh Beckett in his last 3 starts, 3-0. He got a little well, he gave up 4 runs. I mean, it all depends if you consider that
He's
rotten
been
or not.
solid, though.
4 runs and 7, but aside from that, a shutout on his last outing, and then prior to the 4 runs and 7, he only pitched a 1-earned run, and that was a solo shot. So 1 bad pitch, and you know, if you take that away, he had himself another shutout. So, you know, the thing I worry about, and I said this going into the season, Beckett, we know about the blister problems in the past. He hasn't had the problems this year, but I'm not going to stop being concerned of it until at least we get through 3/4
Yeah,
of the
at
season.
least of their problems.
Blister problems occur during heat, and that heat's starting to come. And if he can stay away from that, beautiful. And Schilling, I'm still concerned about him because of his age. Not that he's not solid right now, but you never know when
Well,
things
he
could
had
fall
his
apart.
last start was very solid.
Yes.
He almost went back to dominant. The 2 or 3 starts before that, he struggled a little bit.
But
Just
and
like
then-
Randy Johnson, he's getting up there in age, but him and Beckett, for the most part, have been pretty good. I mean,
I guess I
I'm
shouldn't
not going to worry
complain.
about Josh Beckett because he's the least of their problems.
Right.
I think it's these other guys that I think there's going to be a scramble for pitching towards the All-Star break.
And it's going to be between the Yankees and Red Sox. Let's face it, the injuries aside, the Yankees are hurting a lot more in that category. The problems with both teams are relatively the same. It's in their pitching and their depth.
Roger Clemens is still out there, although we talked about
He's
that.
going to Houston.
I mean, I don't want to hear it either about Roger Clemens, but I'm just saying that's a guy who's out there. And
How do you feel about, like, we kind of talked about it, but I don't know if we ever talked about Roger Clemens coming to Boston and how you feel about that. I mean,
I don't.
we bashed
At this
Pedro.
point, at this point they could use him, but I'm sick of hearing about Rogers. I really do. I love the guy.
He's really dragging it
One
out.
of the best pitchers I ever saw.
Yep.
In my era. But
He should be making a decision any day
yeah,
now,
I mean,
and I'm
what's
not just
going
saying
on?
that.
He's
He
going to
actually
play for 6 months. They're
he
gonna pay
said
him.
that he would make his decision at the beginning of June, and that he would be able to start pitching because he's turned it up a notch in his training. He should be able to start pitching by the middle of June. So that being the case, we're just about at the end of hearing about the drama of the Rocket. I can't very well bash Pedro for leaving early during the All-Star break and having his own set of rules, and then think that it's okay for Roger Clemens to do that at this point. So if that's going to be the case and he's going to have a special set of rules, I just assume he not come here.
I'm glad you said that.
I just assume he's not. Why?
2 minutes, that's it?
Time flies when you talk the Rocket.
Time flies after the
What do you mean you're glad I said
big
that?
Memorial Weekend with mudslides and...
Is that what you were doing?
Oh, I love mudslides.
I was trying to find out what everybody did all Memorial Day weekend. I cooked
Golf,
on the grill.
mudslides, and cookouts. That's what America's about, baby. Mudslide. Bring in the summer.
Where do you
Football's
find
almost
mudslides
here.
with no rain? That's amazing to me.
California.
Unbelievable. Real quick.
Pedro's pitching real well, by the way. And,
Yeah,
you know,
he's still a
listen,
jerk.
he's a great pitcher.
He is, and what is he, in his second year in New York now?
Like I said, the next 10 games,
Right.
we're going to find out a little bit about this Red Sox team, and obviously, we'll have all the updates for you. But
Let's hope
it's
Tampa
still,
Bay doesn't start creeping up the ladder.
well, right now, I mean, they're 30-19, so yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any need to panic. But they play some tough teams on this road trip, and if they go under 500,
Right.
I would, just start to think
Well,
about, hey,
I'll tell you right now, the one thing we haven't talked about is the wild card. And when you have teams like Detroit and Chicago duking it out, let me tell you, folks, you better win the division because there's a really good chance.
Yeah, but that's what we said last
that
year.
you're
so
not gonna.
It's
yeah,
gonna be an
but
interesting race.
Now you got two teams even
Interesting
stronger.
race.
Anyway, so it's a sports show at yahoo.com. Keep those mass of emails coming.
Keep them coming.
Can't even keep up with them anymore. Thanks to Jill and the Pill in there.
Jill in the pill.
Thanks.
That could almost be
There's
misconstrued as something else, but I'm not going to
There's
go
inside reasons why we say what we say. On behalf of Angelina Jolie, we say good night.
there. How about Fashion Mitch?
Fashion Mitch, he's the pill.